Welcome back once again, strugglers, as we continue through the Black Swordsman arc of BERSERK, the manga. So I've been recording these videos one after another, so these are pre-recorded, so if there's any comments and whatnot on the videos prior, I haven't seen them yet. But any kind of issues of how to improve these videos or maybe film them better in a different way, I would definitely appreciate. So put all that down in the comments below, and we can get back into our dissection. So one thing I really love is Puck messing with the Behelit, how he's just kind of like leaning on it, and then one of the little eyes opens and looks at him, and he freaks out. Of course, I would freak out too, because once again, I saw the Golden Age movies before reading the manga, so I know what opening of the Behelit can do, but I guess the Behelit is just alive, and normally has its eyes closed and can periodically open them, so there's that. Guts asks how Vargas actually got this Behelit. He said he got it by chance. Guts questions this. This is hard to talk about without spoiling the Golden Age arc, but let's mention one of the main themes of BERSERK, and that is fate versus free will. This will be an ever-prevalent theme, and all I can say for now is Guts is clearly the personification of free will and fighting against destiny. I'll get into this more when we get into the backstory. Vargas tells Guts of a way to get into the castle before touching Guts, which results in him being kicked over. Guts doesn't really like to be touched, so it's probably best that you don't. And he also once again comments on Vargas's weakness, again showing how much Guts, 1, hates to be touched, and 2, hates seeing weak people around him. So much to go into here, but I'll wait till it's more appropriate in the story. So Zondark, lame. Zondark sucks. Zondark breaks in, and Guts' brand begins to start bleeding as he realizes this man is no longer human, or at least no longer fully human. So the two of them fight, and Guts manages to hack off half of Zondark's head, and out pops a little slug-like version of the Count, instantly recognizing Vargas. So I guess this is more of the Count possessing Zondark rather than Zondark himself actually being a demon. I'm still a little confused, but for the most part it looks like he's more of a puppet to the Count more than anything else. Anyways, Guts makes the roof cave in and they all make their escape. Guts takes the Behelit from Vargas without asking, he just kind of takes it. And then he ventures off. But before Puck follows him, Puck turns around and talks to Vargas for a little bit, and he says something that I really like. He says, people need to keep on living. Living for the future is more important than trying to avenge the past. This is such in contrast to everything that makes Guts Guts. Guts is consumed with the past, his trauma, his PTSD. He is, at his lowest point anyway, incapable of living for the future. He lives only moment to moment, with only his motivation being his past. Things that have happened in his past. Everything is motivating him for this present, and he is doing anything but living for the future, except maybe a future of pure revenge satisfaction. But it looks like Zondark isn't dead yet. Ugh. So he captures Vargas, and then Vargas is set to be executed for the heretic that he is. Or at least that's what the Count is telling the townspeople. Puck wants Guts to save him, but he declines, spouting about weakness once again. But while Guts is off on his own, kind of looking at the execution from afar, some specific words that Vargas said seem to haunt him. They are, "Before my eyes, I was nothing but a prisoner of fear." This is so profound, and honestly, it's getting difficult not to talk about specifics. This is why it's odd for me reading the Black Swordsman arc after watching the Golden Age arc, because from the perspective of the readers, that line doesn't really carry the same emotional weight. But I'd hate to spoil it for the newcomers following along. I guess what I will say is that the Black Swordsman arc has two very different interpretations. One, having no idea what Guts' backstory is, and 2, knowing exactly what his backstory is. I can't say which is the better way to read it. If I could just erase my memory and start here, I would just want to truly have a sense of what the readers must have been thinking at this point. I mean, honestly, I want to know. Please comment if you started with the Black Swordsman arc, if you started here. What do you think about Guts' character and why he thinks about this line? I was nothing but a prisoner of fear. I would really be curious to what the interpretation of that would be, starting here with the Black Swordsman arc. And then poor Puck attempts to desperately get Guts to save Vargas from execution, to which he declines, stating that the reward for an ambition too great is self-destruction. Then of course I love how Puck just calls him an ass over and over and over again. Really funny. But then Puck does try to help. He does. Guts shows a sign of caring about Puck when Puck gets knocked out here, and he's even a little bit aghast when he sees the beheading. He turns away. After all the carnage he's witnessed, we know he's not turning away because of the violence himself. No, this turn is not to accept the responsibility for allowing it to happen. Refusal of acknowledgement. And then at that moment, he sees the strange little demon creature once again. After this, Guts shows up at the burial site, or wherever they throw the heaps of dead bodies here, and declares to Vargas' severed head that he won't fail like Vargas did. He fights off some demon spirits, and then heads off to face the Count. Meanwhile, the Count is shown to have a daughter, Theresa, and he actually cares for her. He gives her Puck in a birdcage as a gift, which I think is really funny. But it's clear she wants nothing to do with him. Hey, he may be a weird slug-spitting, beheading-loving demon apostle, but at least he lets his kid know that he loves her, and gives her a pet. So there's that. As Guts infiltrates the stronghold, the possessed Zondark returns. Oh boy, but it's okay. It's a pretty intense fight, and it's actually fun to look at because of Miura's artwork. But Zondark keeps regenerating every time Guts cuts off a piece of him, until he specifically tells Guts he needs to cut off his head. Wow, really? What is he, some video game prompt? I don't know, but whatever, he just kind of gives away the way to kill him. But I do love how Guts cuts out the mini Count slug from his head, it's stuck on a sword, and then he smashes it against a wall. That's just great. So back to Theresa, who is the Count's daughter, and she is prime potential to be an amazing character. She immediately befriends Puck, and then begins to explain a bit of the backstory for her father. See, the Count was a great ruler for a time, but 7 years ago his wife was supposedly killed by heretics, which is why he's so adamant about executing them now, and he consistently got crueler and crueler in doing so. I really like this. This is by no means the Count's full story, or even a very accurate one, but unlike the Snake Baron, Miura actually is giving this villain some meat. The world of Berserk is not black and white. Well, I mean, it is as far as the manga coloring goes. But what you'll find is humans in this series are never straight up heroic or evil. There is always something else under the surface. Always motivations. Always reasons to justify. The world of Berserk is harsh, unrelenting, and karma plays no part. Sometimes people die that don't deserve it. People suffer. It's life. Is that a downer? Sure, yes, but it's true. The world is an uncaring, unfair bitch. But we struggle. Except Guts, who doesn't really seem to be struggling very much at the moment as he just plows through the guards. I particularly like how this big guy he comes up against, which he knocks up against a pillar with his sword, and then gives a second swing, slicing the man in half and destroying the pillar. Classic. Hearing the commotion, Theresa agrees to let Puck free so that Puck can go see Guts, only after explaining that she's been captive to this room all of these years. Puck promises to come back for her after setting him free. Guts gets to the Count, and he finally transforms into the gigantic slug apostle form, complete with 2 mouths. And Guts gets his ass handed to him. Between the Count's regeneration and his just raw strength, it looks pretty bleak for Guts. And I really like this because we show that Guts is a force to be reckoned with. He's always plowing through creatures with his giant sword, defeating things easily. But at the end of the day, Guts is still a human. And when Guts is faced against a creature like this, an apostle this strong, I mean, even the snake got in some good hits. But the Count is just wrecking his shit. And it's crazy. Guts does everything he can to try to outsmart this creature, but still, it's just that raw strength and regeneration that just isn't allowing Guts to do hardly anything. Puck steps in, and it's just, he's just doing his best. It's adorable. I love how Puck calls the Count out on his past and calls him a fragile human, which really gets to him. And then the Behelit falls out of Guts's wherever he was holding it, and then Puck tries to keep the Behelit from the Count. A little bit of get away game going on, which I really like. But then Theresa arrives on the scene. The Count is taken aback, clearly not wanting to see her in his transformed state. This shows us a few things, but I think the most important aspect of this is that even though the Count is a demon apostle, he still retains a piece of his humanity. Meaning, whoever you are as a human remains who you are underneath when you're turned. This is important to remember with what's coming up. But then Guts wakes up and manages to grab Theresa as a shield. This is perfect. No rules in battles like this. As the Count comes in to get his daughter, Guts blasts him away with his arm cannon and then cuts off his head. He starts to torture the Count just like he did with the Snake Baron, stabbing him over and over again. Puck tries to get him to stop because he is right in front of Theresa, the Count's daughter, who is freaking out about this whole thing, understandably so. Here it's like Guts is possessed himself, laughing and enjoying the torture of the demon, as he did with the snake. Puck asks, why go that far? Why go so far as to torture, as much as he is? It's a great question, and it's a question that's about to be answered as the Count's blood covers the Behelit and activates it. We're going to stop here for now, guys, but thank you very much for watching so far. In the next chapter, we will, next chapter of this video series, we'll finish the Black Swordsman arc, and then get ready for the Golden Age arc. So I hope you guys are excited. Thanks a lot for watching these videos. Please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, share it with your Berserk loving friends, and I'll see you in the next video.